this is this is coming out. Okay, it's new information. In a historic agreement between DHS Secretary Christy Nome and Treasury Secretary Scott Bassett, Bassett, the 87,000 IRS agents hired under the previous administration are being repurposed to support immigration enforcement. Instead of targeting taxpayers, these agents are being detailed to DHS under Title 8 to help apprehend criminal illegal aliens and restore rule of law. Instead of using Biden's 87,000 IRS agents to take more money from the Americans, I've directed them to help taxpayers save money by assisting ICE. This move targets sanctuary city chaos, aligns Treasury with DHS, and give ICE the manpower needed for large-scale deportation. The number that once worried American family is now warning to criminal illegal aliens. The IRS is no longer weaponized. America is being secured. Let's start thinking about this a little bit, right? National Guards was rolled out to California. Granted, the Marines are there, right? Camp Pendleton's there, like in Oceanside or wherever it's at, right? And Nevada's really close too. So we have to protect the western boundaries, right? So even though like Newsom was like, hey, get this stuff out of our state or whatever, right? They can't. He can't do anything about it, right? He can't do anything about it. Marines are still there. National Guards are still there, right? If you're looking at Minnesota, it's like, okay, well, yeah, they have a large population of Somalis. Somalis are just people they can't trust, right? For one, it was, like there was so much corruption there, right? As far as money laundering goes, right? That like they're just, like they are who they are, right? The culture is like a pirate type of culture. If you ever watch, Captain Phillip or whatever, with Tom Hanks, right? Remember the cargo freight ships, right? He was the cargo freight ship driver, right? Or yeah, sea captain or whatever, right? The Somali crew came out of nowhere and they held him hostage for a long time, right? Based on the true story, right? You know what I mean? Like they just gotta do what they gotta do, right? Federal government gotta do what they gotta do. You know what I mean? Whether or not those people have the right to be there, no, we're in like right now we're in wartime mode, right? They're mobilizing. You know what I mean? Like at this point, 87,000 IRS agents, right? They're mobilizing, right? They turn them into border patrols, right? You know what I mean? Like what's the IRS agent? You know what I mean? The one that can carry, it can carry, but most of the time they're just, you know, pushing papers, right? Especially the new ones. That's let's quote unquote. That's they just got hired by the last administration. You know what I mean? Like you know, I don't think IRS is gonna be like, hey, everyone put a strap on. No, they're not. You know what I mean? They're mostly probably non carrying uh, type of people, right? But guess what? You know what I mean? Like how fast is it for them to train these guys to be a different type of worker? You know what I mean? Mobilization, right? Yeah, they gotta do the job, guys. So you know what I mean? Like, is the protest necessary if it's for the right purpose, right? You know what I mean? I don't think protesting for to prevent um, removal of non-citizens is gonna help. You know what I mean? At that point, if you have a mixture of a lot of factions of type of people, right? You know, good people, unsure people. You know what I mean? Like these people just came. They're not vetted. You know what I mean? Versus lifelong Americans that's been here forever. That's that has culture. That like traditionally will be more patriotic, right? Then then like it's easy. You know what I mean? Concentration camp versus non-concentration camps. You guys want concentration camps? Go ahead. Keep the mixing pot going, right? But if you guys don't want concentration camp, I say you let them do the job. You know what I mean? Like that's just that's just how I think. You know what I mean? You guys can leave an opinion, your thoughts. You know what I mean? Like, am I a cruel person? No. You know what I mean? I have sympathy for people, right? But you gotta think about strategically. You know what I mean? We have to cover our bases, right? If the last administration let in 30 million people, right? That's called a Trojan horse. You know what I mean? Like we don't know who's who, right? So that's just my 2 cents, y'all. Go ahead and leave a comment, follow me for more content. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to you know stay alert as much as possible. Um, you know what I mean? There's a lot of training going on in California. You know what I mean? We live a lot by there's a lot of military bases, especially by the ocean. You know, so like they're trying to protect as much as this area of I mean port of entry, right? So as much as possible. You know what I mean? Anyway, just my 2 cents, y'all. Go ahead and have a good night. Peace.